Hello, everyone, and welcome again to another Teacher Joseph podcast. Well, this is podcast number 500. So we're celebrating today, and we're going to talk about some of the best podcasts that I've done in the last year. That's right, 500 podcasts. It's very hard to imagine that, isn't it? It seems to me that the first one was only yesterday, and I remember it very well. It was called Walking by the River Clyde, because I was in, I think, Glasgow that day, and I decided to make a little podcast. Italki has been doing podcasts for some time, and I thought, oh, lovely, I might as well try one. And then the next thing I know, here we are, 500 podcasts later. And I've been doing one every day since that time. I can see from the reports that they give me, the most popular podcasts are about motivation. Every time I post something about motivation, you all get really excited. And over the last year and a bit, I think the first one was in April 2022, the highest rated podcast has been one called Shadowing, which has been listened to over 700 times. So those are the kind of podcasts you like, ones which motivate you. And also the ones about speech are generally more popular because, many English teachers don't like talking about accent reduction. I don't know why. I mean, I really like it, but I think it's because when you train to be a teacher, no one really tells you about accents. It's something a little bit different. Yeah, so not all teachers learn about the voice and how it works. They prefer just to talk about grammar. Having said that, there's a lot of teachers out there that don't even know how to hold a good conversation. Many of you ask, where do I get the ideas from for doing these podcasts? Well, the truth of the matter is, I don't get these ideas from anywhere. They just seem to come. Usually I talk about things I've discovered or things which I've been thinking about. I think all English teachers are just a little bit nuts. I think we're all just a little bit strange. Especially those of us who specialize in these weird little things which may not be important for other people, like vowel sounds and how you all are. So very good, very good. So yes, the very first podcast, Walking by the River, and I think I was describing the river back then, wasn't I? And speaking about motivation, well, I'm wondering if I could explain what motivates me to do a podcast every day. Well, that's a difficult one. I think you have to tap in to your natural energies. You have to really look down inside yourself and say, what would make me happy today? And all of us have a skill. Maybe we don't know what it is. Maybe we have a rough idea what it is. For me, I've always just loved the voice work, radio, communication. These words have always been very important for me. So talking every day on a podcast like this really is something which brings me a lot of joy. And that's kind of what you're looking for when you want to start something new or you want to tap into something. You want to really use your joy level, and that taps into your excitement and gets your passion going. And that's really how I've come up with 500 podcasts. one every day by doing something which I completely love. The idiom plain sailing is generally used when something has been easy. We spoke about it some months ago. You can say, for example, it's been plain sailing, or I wish I could say it's been plain sailing. Making these podcasts every day has not always been plain sailing. There's been a few little hiccups along the way. You know what a hiccup is? You know, when you're sitting with your friends and you're talking and suddenly your voice jumps with a little, that's a hiccup. And we use that as a metaphor to talk about problems or little problems. So let me give you an insight into behind the scenes of this podcast. Well, my first problem, I think, was really getting audio equipment to make this podcast sound clear. I have a program called Audacity, and I was spending time polishing the podcast and everything else. And it was very time consuming. And then suddenly I realized that the best microphone I had was actually on my telephone. And I could take it out with me and use simply my telephone to record audio using the recorder function. And that's exactly what I do. And it also blocks background noise. Even though I can hear traffic whizzing by, you don't hear that. Also, the good thing about your telephone microphone is that it's very, very clear. It really does work with the voice very, very well. So most of my podcasts, especially the ones outside, are simply made with my telephone. So it's very, very easy to make a podcast. What else can I tell you? Yeah, well, over the years, or the year and a half I've been doing this, another difficult thing has been the transcript. Now that was frightening. So when I first started doing the transcripts, the app on my telephone automatically produced the transcript. But on looking through it, I realized that it really wasn't good. So I had to spend quite some time working with the transcript to make it perfect. That was fine. And then I think there was about a month, maybe 3 or 4 months ago, where it really didn't produce very good transcripts at all, and I ended up having to rewrite them. That was a problem. Yeah, there were there were a few really dodgy transcripts coming out at that point. So I hope that didn't put you off too much. Generally, that's okay now. I think the transcripts are more or less fine, and that's because I spend around 1 hour a day polishing them. So that was a problem at one point, and probably somewhere in the history, some of the older podcasts don't always have perfect transcripts. So that wasn't very good, but that's fixed now, I'm pleased to say. So that was another problem. Yeah, and italki restricts me to upload only podcasts which last 30 minutes or less. And you know what I'm like once I start talking? You can't shut me up. So that's another issue. If I talk too long, I've sometimes got to edit these podcasts so that they fit into italki's template. That's another thing. Yeah, but the system works really well. The one kind of a problem that everyone's told me about is accessing these podcasts on italki. If you use the italki app, you can find the podcasts rather painlessly. But if you don't use the app, if you're on the browser, trying to find the podcast section can be quite difficult. You have to really rake around a lot on the teachers' profiles. So that's a bit of an issue, you know. But as for the content, oh no, I love talking. So there's never been a problem actually finding content. Um, I'm getting new subscribers every day. We have well over 1,000 subscribers, and that's growing. So I'm really pleased about that. I think it's the blend of helping you with English as well as trashy show business entertainment news, which you all love, as well as these really weird points of English culture. I mean, we are very eccentric. There's no doubt about that. English people, we are just a little bit strange with some things. So that, I think, as well, is something that you all love. Another thing about these podcasts, when I lost my voice, I think there's been at least twice or three times when my voice is gone and I've been on this podcast. Hello, welcome to another Teacher Joseph podcast. That was funny. That certainly was up there as one of the more difficult moments. What else can I tell you that's been nice about these podcasts? Well, amongst my favorites, I mean, I love all of them, but there are a few which really stand out as being funny. There's one called Dear Teacher Joseph, which is all about what people ask me sometimes and what people write to me about. I get some amazing mail. I mean, it ranges from the sublime to the ridiculous. For example, I had one the other day there. Dear Teacher Joseph, I'm going to a party. What should I wear? Dear Teacher Joseph, is it okay to wear a green dress and white sports shoes if I'm going to walk with my friends in London? And my favorite one, I think, I always mention this one. It's a conversation I had with a young man, and he said, Teacher Joseph, tell me what murder means. And I said, murder? Well, that's when someone kills another person. And he said, yeah, but I don't really get it. Why would you do that? I said, well, imagine that, someone upsets you and you're really angry and you want to take revenge. You wouldn't kill the person, but you might think about it. Or maybe if you've seen in a TV show, for example, one bad man kills the other bad man. That's murder. And the man said, ah, you mean massacre? I said, no, massacre's when you kill everyone. And he said, yeah, but why would you kill just one person? Isn't it better to kill the whole tribe? And I said, no, it's not good to kill anyone. Please don't ever kill anyone. No. And this led into a really weird discussion about honor. And it's strange. This is the thing about working on italki. You get to meet people from all over the world who hold all different views about different things. It's very, very interesting that. And sometimes when you come face to face with different cultures, it can be quite surprising sometimes, even little things. Like, for example, our kids in the UK, they go to school age 4, but yet all across Eastern Europe, kids go to school at age 6. Isn't that strange? So, yeah, these little things make us all more open-minded and realize we're not all the same. And I just mentioned that as some of the other things which come up in italki lessons. I am aware, as I mentioned earlier, that you all absolutely love the topic of motivation. You really have to tap into your passions, if you really want to make English work for you, it shouldn't be so difficult, you know? If I were you, even with little English, I would immediately begin to try to help somebody else. Because if you know you're helping somebody else with something that you're learning, it'll also inspire you to learn faster. So why not set up a blog or a podcast, just sharing with the world the little bit that you know already? And as people visit it and talk about it and get to know it, they'll help you, you know? So these are all wonderful things to think about. So yeah, motivation is a big thing. And in the future, I'll be talking about that as well. So yeah, 500 podcasts covering loads of things about British life and culture. If you have any questions about British life or culture, anything you want to ask me, send me a note, send me a message, and I'll do my best to try to cover it. Other favorite podcasts have been when I've been out and about. I've recently just been to the Netherlands, and there's been some podcasts from there. But yeah, going to the supermarket and talking about my little cats, these have been favorite ones as well. And yeah, and of course, it's all thanks to you, because if you don't listen to these podcasts, then I wouldn't be here making them. So I'm really happy that you're all here and that you're enjoying them. And that's it. So 500 podcasts, and I'm looking forward to 500 more podcasts. So there we are. Have a wonderful day. I hope you've enjoyed this, and thank you so much for your support over the last year and a half. And yeah, let's keep them going. Okay, so see you all soon. Take care. Bye.